Across the Asia Pacific, what's very interesting for us as an organisation is that every territory is very different in their adoption of email as a marketing tool. And a lot of this is driven by how people have been communicated with in the past, at what stages of adoption are mobile phones, for example, at what stages of penetration are PCs. So what we have to look at is our offices in those territories work very closely with our clients to understand really where that consumer base is. And that really drives the strategy that any organisation will have in that territory. So if you take Australia, for example, it is a very large territory geographically, population quite widespread around the coastal areas, but with only 20 million population. So what you find there is that e-commerce has really taken off to a huge extent. Most things, be they government driven, be it paying your electricity bills, be it buying your groceries, be it ordering books, are all done online, but done through domestic providers of those services. So what that means is the shift in marketing has also gone more to online. If you look at the overall online spend in Australia, it's about 1.2 billion US dollars at the end of last year. It's now overtaken outdoor in terms of bus shelters. It's now overtaken radio in terms of an advertising medium and the amount that's spent. So that move has been fairly fast. However, if you look at territories like China, and if you include Hong Kong into that, you have societies here which are actually more touchy-feely. Consumers like to feel and touch the products before they buy them. And I think the thing to look at here is if you just take the MTR in Hong Kong, as you're about to exit, you will see people standing both sides of the barriers. What are these people doing? These are people that have got together on eBay or some of the local consumer-to-consumer websites to buy and sell goods. But rather than transact online, what they're actually doing is going to a point where they can meet, touch and feel the goods, hand over the cash offline. So they've met online, interacted, has had a great part in driving the transaction, but it hasn't necessarily led to the full conclusion of it. If you then look at places like India, Thailand, Vietnam, still very nascent. What you're going to get is people still do a lot of their research offline. They're still reading magazines, they're still listening to the radio, they're still looking at bus shelters, but they're using online as a tertiary source. So where can I go just to get some of the latest cutting edge reviews or information on the products I want to buy? So really what you have to do is take each market independently and then look at where that development's going. But I think Australia is probably a good telltale sign. Territories are driving in that direction. It's as consumers become more comfortable with transacting online that it will drive the move away from print and radio. But I don't think it will ever replace it. Email is a great tool for driving customer loyalty. It's a great tool for driving transactions. But you still have so many different segments of consumer that like to be contacted in very different ways. After all, we're a multi-touchpoint society. We still watch TV, no matter what people say. That TV may be online, it may be over broadband connections, but it's still television. We do surf. We do still read magazines. We still do get exposed to billboards on the trains, the MTR. So we're touched through many channels over every day. And so they all have a very significant part to play in ultimately driving purchase transactions. Building an ROI model, building a P&L, a profit and loss statement around email marketing campaigns is something that's very similar to how you'd do it in a very traditional business and a very offline business. You have to understand what are the financial drivers of the goal you're trying to achieve. So first of all, start at looking, what is that goal? Is it a purchase I'm trying to achieve? Is it a download? Is it a request for information? Is it an upsell? Is it a cross-sell? What is it? Have I already acquired the customer that I'm marketing to, or is this some kind of cold contact through an affiliate program? So then what you have to start doing is understand what are the drivers of your business. And I think where a lot of marketers have failed previously in trying to understand what the ROI is between their email marketing programs is they don't necessarily understand what drives their business from a finance perspective. So we encourage our customers to actually speak to their finance people, to even go to their CFOs and say, we're planning our email marketing strategy. We want to make sure that we're providing you with very solid numbers around the effectiveness of the money we're spending. For example, what's our average cost of sale for goods? Can you please tell us what's our cost of acquisition for a customer? What is our usual return rate on goods? All of these kind of things will ultimately impact the difference between gross revenue and bottom line. And then start to fill these in a very simple spreadsheet that you can then map to some of the metrics that people are used to building around email, which is number of emails I pushed, number have been delivered, number have been opened, number of clicks, and then ultimately number of transactions. And so what you can then do is place the actual finance metrics you get from your finance team into a very simple equation and work it down, simple funnel, to see I've spent X many dollars on the campaign, I've driven this many clicks, this many opens, this many transactions, that sold this many goods, that had a cost of sale of X, that ultimately led to a net profit of Y. So you've got to start at the basics. Make sure you understand the basics of email reporting first, and then go and ask your finance department for those specifics that you won't necessarily understand as a marketer. Once you have those, bringing them together is easy.